Welcome back everyone to Neo Racing. We're on round 2 of our 5-week endurance championship. Callum Banks is the new guys on pole, Neil Farmack second, and we're away. Good start by everyone. Looks like Man of Steel got a decent start in the middle as we all come down towards the first corner. Callum and Neil side by side, everyone else tightly packed behind. Try and keep it together, boys. Callum's pushing Neil, pushing, and I think he's gone into the back of Neil. And everyone else tries to fold through. There's Man of Steel, Danny Quaver having a look round the outside. As you come down towards the second corner, Callum's got a gap now. As everyone goes round. Neil's there, 9th place, getting mobbed at each side. Seat 1 on the gravel. Oh, contact between Task 1 and Neil. Everyone else coming through these tight twist sections. We're on Dragon Trail Seaside, as you can see up at the top. 12 people in this race. We've got some good numbers. Jay Houston and Bidzster side by side. There's no boost on in this championship. No boost. As Jay Houston goes up the inside of Bidzster, so Bidzster gets passed there by Jay Houston as they all head out of the little hairpin at the bottom. Let's have a look further back. There's Danny Quaver 6th, Lil Yam, one of the new guys, Belgian guys. He's right up behind Jonesy Raw, another one of the new lads. And Man of Steel's had a bit of an issue with the chicane, I think, so he's fallen back down the order. He's going to get passed by Seek 1 in a minute, I think. But we've got Lil Yam making a move on Jonesy Raw and the Beetle up the inside. Oh, and contact! Shove! Completely shoves Jonesy Raw out of the way. But anyway, there's Seek 1. Let's have a look at the front. We've got Bidzster. Callum Paul Banks has made a break for it. So there's Callum, and there's Bidzster second. King Domingo third. Oh, Jay Houston out of shape in 4th. And Danny Quaver 5th. And let's have a look further back. Oh, we've got contact between, I think that, who's that at the background? No, that's Task 1 and Neil Farmack making a comeback. Oh, we've got a car off. Who's that? Oh, we've got Task 1 and Man of Steel contact. So plenty of action. Almost a bit too much action with the amount of contact that we're having, but I'm sure it'll all calm down in a few laps as Neil Farmack goes around the outside of Man of Steel and takes 8th place and moves on up. Let's have a look further down the front. We've got Jay Houston, who's got Danny Quaver on his case now, so Jay Houston's gone a bit more backwards. We've got Danny Quaver on him, and King Domingo is all over the back of Bidzster here, as we can see. Bidzster in the Mazda 6. And it gets a little bit of a twitch on the chicane, and Domingo's closing up. Will he go for a move? Is he going to go for it? Yep, he goes up the inside and takes 2nd place. But then, I think, is he going into the pits? Yep, going into the pits. Remember, we have to start with 40 litres of fuel at the start to try and make for a bit of a sprint race at first. We've got King Domingo in the pits as well. Lil Yam goes through. So Domingo's in the pits. Jonesy Raw and Neil Farmack go through. So Neil Farmack's closed up to the back of Jonesy Raw now. He's looking for another place. Oh, a little bit of contact on the straight. Just a little tap to make good friends. As they go down towards the first corner, and Jonesy Raw's on the inside, but Neil Farmack's just got the overspeed and takes 6th place. Good move there from Neil Farmack. There's Task 1 and Mr. Slow One behind him. Mr. Slow One having a bit more of a decent race. Keep him with the pack. Right, here's a replay from the start on board with Callum. As we go in towards the first corner, Neil's ahead and backs out of it, and then mistimes his braking and just knocks Neil into the wall. Here's a replay from the start, looking back from Neil. We've got the telemetry at the bottom as well. So as we go in towards the first corner, he's just ahead of Callum, so now he pulls over to just defend a little bit, and then Callum backs out of it, and then bang, taps Neil into the wall, and then everyone else has to filter through, and that's what happened to Neil. Then we've got Jonesy Raw flashing his lights for some random reason. There we are. We've got Danny Quaver trying to keep with Jay Houston here. So good performance from Danny Quaver here. Much better than we've seen in previous races, so well done to Danny for the good pace. There's Jay Hewson, and as you can see on Danny's car, we've got a couple of Neo Racing emblems now. Try and get a close up on a few of them if we can. There we are, Neo Racing Endurance Championship, which is what this is. Good work from people there to get the stickers up. Oh, we've got Neil Farmack into the wall. Well, did he fall or was he pushed? We'll get a replay. And here's the replay of what happened to Neil on lap 3. You can see Liliam going wide there and going off, just tapping the wall. Neil comes out the corner. You can see there, back wheel on the white line, but they're putting the power on and then just into the wall. So it was Neil that made his own mistake. But meanwhile, there's Neil recovering, and then Task 1 behind him. He's not going to have a look up into the inside, surely not into the chicane. That would never work out. Got to be careful, got to really try and plan your moves a bit more. Can't just go for these diving moves. And Danny Quaver and Jay Hewson are into the pits, so Bidzster's in as well. So everyone's into the pits. Callum goes round. Bidzster in the pits, Danny in the pits as well, Jonesy, everyone. Almost everyone's into the pits. So we're trying. There's Neil Farmack going through. So Neil's not bothering to pit either. So we've got Mr. Slow One going through. He's not bothered to pit, so he's moved up to 3rd place for now, which is good. And there's the only one to the brakes into the first corner. Now we've got a few different strategy changes here. Bidzster's just gone onto hard tyres, and everyone else has gone onto either softs or super soft. So this is going to be it for an interesting race. Domingo gets out ahead of Bidzster, but Bidzster's going long. As we look at everyone else, there's everyone else coming out the pits. Oh, Danny Quaver there is ghosted, so he's had some kind of something go up there. So there's Jay Hewson, and then there's your little Yam trying to go through the middle of them all. Be careful. And there's Danny Quaver slows up, lets Jay Hewson go and try, and he's trying to fight Little Yam for that position. He's fighting him. Little contact, a little bit of contact, and a little bit of rubbing again as they go down the hill. Careful, boys. We've still got another 55 minutes, or just under 55 minutes of this race remaining. Going to be fighting too hard as Danny Quaver's really putting the pressure on Little Yam now. Almost took right behind him, getting the draft off that Beetle. Callum Paul Banks is in the pits. As you go down to the hairpin at the bottom of the hill, Lil Yam defends, keeps to the inside, defends the inside line, but Danny Quaver's almost outbraked himself, but I think he's not going to lose too much time. He'll still stay on the back of Lil Yam, so that's that little battle. And there's Task 1 and Jonesy Raw in the 2 Porsches. There's Man of Steel on catch-up after a bit of a torrid start, and Seek 1 on a catch-up after pitting. Danny Quaver, oh, he's ahead of Lil Yam, so Lil Yam must have made a mistake in the chicane, so he's in. So Callum Paul Banks is just coming out of the pits now. There's Domingo, so Callum remains in the lead. Bidzster there in 3rd, but I'm sure Bidzster will go a bit further back because he's on a longer strategy. It might pay off towards the end, we'll see. There's Jay Hewson 4th, Danny Quaver 5th, so it's all starting to spread out a bit now after the pit stops. But at least we know where people are, and there's Jonesy Raw coming through. Task 1, there's Mr. Slow One coming out the pits. And he's just behind Man of Steel. And there's Neil Farmack, so Neil Farmack 11th place, but he's just pitted as well, so we'll have to see if Neil can play catch up and get back to the front after that first corner incident with Callum. As we look through the order, closest people on track at the minute is Jonesy Raw and Task 1 and Man of Steel. We're running all 3 Porsches in a line. Blue one of Jonesy Raw, the gold colours of Task 1. There we are, and Man of Steel in a black coloured, black and red liveried Porsche. I like the little double plate, MOS, Man of Steel. Nice little touch. As we go down the hill, Mr. Slow One's on the back of these boys now. He's having a real crack at it. Good to see Mr. Slow One with some pace. Man of Steel has a little look up the inside of Task 1. Are they going to go side by side into the chicane? They're mad if they do, and they are. But no, Man of Steel backs out of it. Yorkshire, whoa! And Man of Steel goes off and into the wall. Neil Farmack says thank you very much, that's another position gained. And Man of Steel's got a bit of a catching up job to do. He's a Blades fan, Man of Steel. He's a Sheffield United fan, as we should be able to see from this image in a minute. There it is. A little shout out to Sheffield United there, and there's Task 1 and Jonesy Rowe together. Task 1 in the slipstream, so that was a bit of an easy pass. So Jonesy Rowe must have had a mistake coming out of the hairpin to lose that much speed on the straight as they go into the first corner. So that's that place sealed. Let's have a little look further forward. We've got Jay Houston in third. Domingo is on the case of Callum. Callum looking for 2 wins out of 2. Domingo trying to stop him with that. Both in the new Toyota Supra. Nice little car. Jay Houston in the same car as well. Then Bidzster in fourth in the Mazda 6. Danny Quaver's catching up to Bidzster now, but remember Bidzster's on hard tyres, so he's going for a longer stint, trying to put a bit of strategy into pay. So I would imagine Danny Quaver and Lil Jan will be able to spend of him in a lap or 2, or maybe even closer than that. So as we look down here, we've got Task 1 under pressure from Neil. Neil's up the inside of Task 1. Beautiful move by Neil. Just gets the car stopped, and Mr. Slow-on says, I'm gonna have a bit of this as well. But not going to get a pass done into the chicane. You've got to really keep single file and try and get a good run out of this chicane. It's the best way to do it. Go through there. You can see the run that Mr. Slow-on's got there, and Jonesy Rowe's made a mistake as well. So Jonesy Rowe goes back. It just shows you one mistake at that chicane and you are going backwards. As Mr. Slow-on is on the case of Task 1. He leaves the door wide open. Man of Steel's going to have a look at the inside. Got to be careful there, Mr. Slow-on. Don't leave the door open too much. As they go onto the straight now. All in each other's draft as well. They're all drafted. We'll just have a little look at the battles up ahead. That's Danny Quaver and Lil Jan. They've both got past Bidzster now because Bidzster's on a longer strategy. As we've got Task 1 here up on Mr. Slow-on. Trying to keep that position from him. Mr. Slow-on's putting him under all kinds of pressure. Trying left, trying right. As they go down to this little kink, reminds me of Suzuka this little bit, this first little kink, and then the 90-degree right. Mr. Slow-on defending now from Man of Steel, trying not to leave a gap open as he tries to have a look round the Task 1. As they go down the hill and then up this little climb through these S's. And up there, and then up the power on up the hill. You don't want to make any errors here as Mr. Slow-on's definitely having a look now at Task 1. Good to see him on the pace after all these races near the back. It's good to see him on some decent pace, and he's going to try around the outside. All the cars squirming. Mr. Man of Steel's up the inside, trying to take advantage, and has he done it? Yeah, I think he has done, yes. So Mr. Slow-on just outdoes it a bit. And Mr. Man of Steel in a good place to take advantage. As they go through the chicane. Beautiful set of corners then if you get them right, but if you get them wrong, it bites you in the backside. As I think we've just had Domingo in the pits, but we'll just keep with this for now. Man of Steel just ahead of Mr. Slow-on. Takes the title line at the last minutes to make sure to counter anything, but Mr. Slow-on gets a good run out of the corner. But is he going into the pits? No, he's not. He just takes a different line, and he's behind Man of Steel now. He's going to just try to go for the draft. He's pulling alongside in the Lexus. Lexus versus Porsche, which has got the grunt. Both quite equal. As they go into the first corner, and no room through there. So we'll just have a little look at battles a bit further up. We've got Danny Quaver here, and on the case of Bidzster, who's still on those harder tyres, I think. As then we've got Lil Jan moved up to third. Probably not pitted for a while yet. As we look back, there's King Domingo in his sixth, so he's had a pit stop and come back out. Neil Farmack trying as hard as he can after that first corner incident. Really got the red mist in his red car. Really pushing and trying, using every single millimetre of track he can. On the move. As we look further back, at this little battle between Task 1, Man of Steel and Mr. Slow. As Man of Steel has a little peek up the inside, but no cigar yet. As Task 1 just has to keep the power down. Just left the door open a little bit. Just got to be careful not to leave the door open too much, otherwise Man of Steel will be in there for a little peek. as they go around the chicane. Man of Steel sparking up the Porsche on the wall. He's using every single millimetre of track he can. Good to see people pushing in this race, even though it is a long one. Now Neil Farmack here is on the case of Domingo. We'll just have a quick look at this. Lil Yam is in the pit, so they'll move up a position each. But it looks like Neil might move up too, because he's having a look up the right hand side, which would be the wrong side for the next corner. But he's relying on the power of the BM, and has he done it? Oh, beautiful move by Neil Farmack. Uses all the road he can, uses the overspeed, but Domingo says, excuse me mate, I'm not done with you yet, and it keeps the pressure on, but to no avail. Oh boy, will it be? Because Neil's just lost it. He just lost it big time, gone round. Don't see that often from Neil, so it must have just been pushing too hard. The red mist definitely got to him. He's got to be careful rejoining now, because there goes the Man of Steel, Task One, Mr. Slow on battle, and Seek One as well, who's coming up on the back of them. So unlucky there for Neil. Let's have a look. Domingo's on the case of Bidzster, but remember Bidzster's on a different tyre compound and on different strategies. So yeah, he just lets Domingo get on with it. Don't want him slowing anyone down. He's just trying to run his own race. In the number 22 orange car, you can definitely see Bidzster's car from a crowd. There's Danny Quaver. Wow, nice line there from Danny Quaver through the chicane, pushing on, trying to see all the places he can get. Jay Hewson trying to catch up to this man, Callum Banks, who's running away with it at the minute out front. And then we've got the Domingo Bidzster there, and then further back we've got these lot, Man of Steel, Mr. Slow One, Man of Steel, Mr. Slow One. And Task One's fallen a bit further back, so he must have had a bit of a, there he is, he must have had a bit of a moment at the chicane or something. So because they're all a bit more spread out now, as Mr. Slow One right on the back of Man of Steel again, looking left, looking right, just trying to put him under a bit of pressure. And now in the draft, pulling up towards the first corner, sweeping right and then into the first section. And no cigar yet, just not close enough. But it takes a good line through the chicane though, I have to admit. Good lines there as he comes up towards the, as I call it, the Suzuka section, because it reminds me of the little kink at Suzuka, and then you go onto the 90-degree right, and then in Suzuka there will be a bridge there, but no, there isn't on this one. You just go up the hill and then back down the other side. It's a beautiful track, Dragon's Trail. It's an original circuit from Gran Turismo, but it is absolutely brilliant. Good flow to it. A couple of tight, twisty sections, technical sections, and most of all, high-speed corners. As we go down the hill, Mr. Slow might have a little peek here. Is he going to? Nope. Just moving the car around, trying to put him under pressure, and I think it's working because he's run wide. So will he be able to get the inside here in towards the chicane? He's got to think about it. No, he's backed out of it. Sensible driving there by Mr. Slow One. If you can't make it stick, then just try and back off a little bit and then keep going. As we now have a look, there's Jay Hewson and there's Callum, so there's quite a big gap between them because Callum's just coming up to the Suzuka section and there's Jay Hewson coming through the first few corners, so there's quite a big gap there. Domingo in third, Danny Quaver's in the pits now in fifth. There goes Bidzster in fourth. So there's Danny Quaver having his pit stop, there's having the car change. You can see the Neo Racing decals there, find us on Facebook. Number 23 of Danny Quaver, and Mr. Slow One's in as well. So this is going to separate things up a bit. So, Seek One and Task One right behind each other. Two Belgians fighting it out as they both go on the brakes, and Seek One's having a little look. Task One gives him enough racing room. And then out the corners, Task One takes a defensive line moving towards the next one, but then moves back across. And they go into the Suzuka section. And then onto the brakes, we'll Seek One have a look. He has a little peek, but nothing yet. There's Lil Yam's on the back of this, so we've got all the three all three of the Belgians that have joined us, 1, 2, 3. So it's good to see them in our group now. As we're going international at Neo Racing. So we've Seek One still putting Task One under pressure, and he runs wide onto the gravel, and Lil Yam says mercy, thank you, and Seek One's really lost it. And he's lost it, gone the other way. Complete tank slapper. Couldn't do anything about that. Just lost control of the car. And now he's got to do a 3-point turn in the middle of the track. Thank God he's ghosted, because then these boys are coming through. There's Seat 1 with Danny Quaver and Neil Farmack going through. So let's have a look and let Lil Yam right on the back of Task 1 now and putting him under pressure in the Beetle. Going towards the first corner. Will Task 1 defend, or will Lil Yam go for it? Lil Yam pulls out and goes for the move up the inside. And a little tap to make good friends. And as they go out the corner, giving each other plenty of room. Jay Houston's into the pits and Man of Steel as they go across the line. Look at the power of that Beetle. That's what that Porsche was before it was a Porsche, but it's got passed by it. As Jay Houston's there, he must have come out of the pits, and Jay Houston's defending, and he's managed to keep the place, which is good. So Lil Yam's all over his case though, not giving him a rest. As they go down towards the Suzuka section, and then onto the brakes, up the hill. The good thing with that Beetle is it's got good handling characteristics and corner stats, but it's not the best on top end speed. Whereas the Porsche is a bit more of an all-round balanced car. So Jay Houston on the new tyres there, just starting to pull away now. As we've got Danny Quaver and Neil Farmack here battling out. Neil trying to recover from his from what happened at the first corner on the first lap. As we see them both battle, Danny Quaver goes a bit wider there, but Neil will be in the slipstream in the BMW. That BMW's got good top-end speed compared to the Supra. As he tries to go around the outside, because Danny Quaver defends, but will he go around the outside? It's very close. I think he's just done it though. Yes, he has. He's gone around the outside. Good move by Neil Farmack there. So through the chicane, Danny Quaver just want to try and steer with Neil now. As he goes through, so close to that wall. It's unbelievable how close to get to that wall. And there's Man of Steel a bit further back. Let's see if we can find any other battles on track. There's Lil Yam trying to keep with Jay Houston. Neil Farmack and Danny Quaver both running a bit wide, and Task 1 is into the pits. Task 1 was on hard tyres, so he's going into the pits to change. Then we have Lil Yam on the K trying to catch up to Jay Houston, and then they've got Bidzster in front, who's still going long on those tyres. So Bidzster going extra long, see if it can work out from in the literally, no pun intended, but the long run. But I'm not sure whether that'll work out, but we'll see. See if strategy can pay into it for once rather than raw speed. There's Domingo, second place, and there's Callum. So there's a good, almost half a lap between them two already. So Callum's Callum's got some good pace in that car. There's Domingo. There's Jay Houston. He's just got past Bidzster now. Bidzster on that longer strategy. Lil Yam closing up behind. And then we've got Neil Farmack there. So we're 22 minutes into this hour race. So a third distance gone. There's Neil Farmack, 6th place through the chicane. There's Mr. Slow on a bit further back in 8th place, but still it's 8th place, which is good. There's Task 1, and then here's Seek 1, and about to be lapped by Callum. So Callum really on the move now. So Seek 1's gone ghosting, so we've done that so just other people can keep their races going. Just for in this championship. Seek 1 pulls over to the side and lets him go anyway. Good driving there by Seek 1. As then we have Danny Quaver in 7th. And Bidzster's defending from Lil Yam, but Lil Yam is going to get through because he's on a softer compound tyre. Bidzster's still on the hards, running a long stint. Lil Yam's probably on softs, running a shorter stint, but faster pace. Bidzster will try and steer with him as much as he can, flashed his lights saying, come on, let's go. See if the different strategies work out. There's Neil Farmack, so he's going to be closed up on Bidzster soon, so he's the next target. So Callum's in the pits. and I think he'll still come out in first because he's got a massive gap over the second place. We'll just have a look at this. There's Callum, the Lorenzo 99 McDonald's livery on his Toyota. There's Domingo in the other Toyota in the old Castrol colours. Good colours there. Some good liveries on show today. And there's Jay Hewson in a very sort of maroon, purplish coloured car. And out of that last corner, up towards the start-finish line, and then there's Callum. He's at the pits already, so I was right. He's come out the pits already, and he's already on his way again. There's Domingo, second place, trying to keep up with him. There's Jay Hewson in third, and then Lilian fourth, and Neil Farmack's going past Bidzster now. Because remember, Bidzster's on the longer strategy, on the harder tyres, so he'll be going longer between pit stops. Trying to see if making less pit stops makes out, trying to save up for the time in the pits on the track. And then there's Danny Quaver in the other Toyota. Plenty of Toyotas in this race. Mr. Sloan in the Lexus. Man of Steel in the Porsche. Task 1 in another Porsche. Seek 1 in another Porsche. There's a theme going here. And then up there's Jonesy Raw, just going wide after being lapped by Callum. And there's Callum in the lead. As we look at, let's try and have a look. Just have a look at the map for some decent battles on track. So here we are, Neil Farmack's closing up on Lilian now. So he's on a move, Neil. He's definitely on a move. He's done his personal best of the race, not the previous lap, but the lap before. 136.9 on your right hand side of your screen there. So he's done his personal best of the race. So he's on the move. As Lilian is fastest as 139, which is a few laps ago. So Neil's got at least another 3 seconds on him. As Lilian runs a bit wide, Neil tries to run it tight, or is he going to go into the pits? But Lilian was going into the pits as well, and then they both go into the pits. So a bit of a miscommunication there, but they were definitely both going into the pits. And then there's Mr. Slow One. He'll probably come through to 5th place, past them two in the pits. There they are. There's Mr. Slow One. There's Danny Quaver. He'll probably go through as well. Let's see where they come out the pits. Neil's come out the pits now. And where is he going to rejoin? 7th place with Lilian 8th. Oh, Man of Steel's coming up in 9th. He's got a good overspeed. Will he have a look down and go past Lilian? Yes, he will. It's the inside, but remember Lilian's on fresh tyres, so he's got to think about that. Lilian all over the back of Man of Steel now. But backs out of it. Not going to go side by side into there. Sensible driving. Neil runs a bit wide, but he's just got it back on track, which is fine. There's Mr. Slow One in 5th, so he's doing well. There's Domingo, just lapped Jonesy Raw. There's Callum. So there's actually a bit of a less gap, but now I've just said that, Domingo goes into the pits, Callum pulls ahead. Jay Houston's there in 3rd, so Jay Houston will move up to 2nd place because Domingo's in the pits. Bidzster's there in 4th, but I think Domingo will get out just in front of Bidzster. So let's see when Bidzster pits. And there we have Man of Steel ahead of Lilian. Neil Farmack 7th place. Going through the chicane. Oh, very squirmy and twitchy through that chicane. We're almost at half distance. And Man of Steel's made an error at the chicane. He's made an error. He's lost the place to Lilian. And let's have a look. There's Domingo coming out the pits. So no, Bidzster's just ahead of him. Bidzster's just ahead of him, but I'm sure Domingo will be past within the lap because he's on a fresh set of softer tyres, I think. So we'll see how that pans out. Neil Farmack 5th place. Danny Quaver's into the pits now as well. And then there's Task 1. So Task 1 will be coming through past Danny Quaver and Mr. Slow One. There they go, they're just coming out of the pits now together. Very much together, in fact. Task 1 goes through. Where's the next car? Now Mr. Slow on there, then Danny Quaver, and then that's it. Yep, so they're rejoining at that part of the track on their own. And they end up going through the first corner. And there's Neil Farmack on the move. There's Kingdom Ingo in 4th place. Bidzster still going long in 3rd. And the Takata sponsored orange car. And there's Jay Houston. Who's he near? Oh, it's Jonesy Road getting out of the way. So good racing there by Jonesy to let Jay Houston go. I know he's ghosted, but it's a good principle to practice the blue flags. As there's Lil Yam in 6th place. Not many battles going on at the minute, but I'm sure there'll be a few more battles as the race pans out. There's Domingo. Closed up onto the back of it now. He's not caught Bidzster up too quick, so I wonder if Domingo's on a harder compound of tyre. They'll try and one of Bidzster's tactics, going a bit longer. So we'll soon find out. But if he is going longer, he's on a fresher set of tyres than Bidzster is. And there's Bidzster going round. And I think we've got a little battle coming out of the chicane. Yep, it's Danny Quaver with Mr. Slow on behind. They've just come out of the pits, they're on their outlap. A little bit of a gap between them now. As I'm just seeing a little battle back here, and that's Jonesy Raw. Then that was another lapped car, do apologise. That's seat 1. Having a fairly average race so far in 11th place. As there is Lil Yam closing up to Man of Steel. And there we have King Domingo, who is now closing up to Bidzster. So let's have a look. Bidzster 144 last lap. And Domingo 146, but it was an outlap. So a couple of seconds off that. But yeah, he's definitely closing on Bidzster now, because even if he is on hard tyres, you can just tell with the fresher set that it's going to help. And Bidzster runs a bit wide there as well, which doesn't really help his cause. But it's probably the tyres going off. I think he'll need to pit at some point to get some fresh rubber. Maybe try and switch tactics. As Domingo closes up. Is he going for a move? Not yet. Not going for a move yet. Bidzster runs a little bit wider there. Domingo might have a look, but no, Bidzster's holding a tight line, so Bidzster's going into the pits. So King Domingo goes through to 3rd. And Bidzster into the pits from the hards. We'll see what tyres Bidzster gets here, because this could be the podium position to battle for. Let's see what tyres he goes on to. We'll have to wait till he fills up. So we'll just see Neil Farmack coming through, and then all this gaggle of cars. So will Bidzster be able to get out in front of these? I don't think so, because he's still filling up with fuel. You can see it going up. He's still filling up. Man of Steel's in, and Task 1's going to go through. So Bidzster is full, and he's on hards again. He's going long again. There's Mr. Slow on coming out of the pits, and who's that ahead? That's Danny Quaver. So Bidzster's getting out ahead of Danny Quaver, but remember, he's going for another long stint on hard tyres, so they'll probably pass him in a few corners. As there's Lil Yam, and there's Neil Farmack up to 4th place now. 36.5 on the lap 17, which was a couple of laps ago. Fastest lap of the race. Neil is on it, but his previous lap was a 156. So I wonder what happened there. Meanwhile, there's Danny Quaver. He's ahead of Bidzster now, because Bidzster's on the harder tyres. So there's Danny Quaver going through. You can see the Neo Racing Facebook advertisement on his car. We're always craving for more people. We've got 12, we can have up to 16 in the lobby, so we're looking for more people. Jay Houston is in the pits. Where will he come out in retrospective to Domingo? Domingo's going to come through and take 2nd, I think, because Jay Houston's got to fill up with fuel still. And he's just done. And there's Neil Farmack. So yeah, Jay Houston comes out. You can see Domingo there, disappearing off into the distance. There he is. And there's Jay Houston just coming out of the pits. So there's Neil Farmack 4th, he'll still be on the move. Lil Yam in 5th, Task 1 6th, Danny Quaver in 7th position. Mr. Slow One makes an error. Oh, he's gone off. Mr. Slow One. Bidzster passes him. Mr. Slow One makes an error there in 9th. He's had a good race so far. Just needs to try and keep it together. There's Seek One just coming through the last corner now, so he's got a bit of a gap towards them, but then still, Seek One is just coming into the pits, so relinquishes 10th place to Man of Steel. Seek One was on hards also, so he was going for a longer stint, taking a leaf out of Bidzster's book. There's Jonesy Rowe struggling with the car, I think, in this one. Hopefully we'll see him fight back in the next race. There's Bidzster in 8th place. Danny Quaver, and let's see if there's any other battles on track at the minute. There's Jay Houston, there's Domingo, so they're quite close really. They're closer than they were a few laps ago. So I know that Domingo's Jay's just come out the pits, but into retrospective to what happened before, they are quite close. You can see there, Domingo just coming out the tunnel, Jay Houston just going in. So still quite close between them. Everyone else still a bit more spread out now. There's Lilian, one of the Belgian guys, going through the chicane, and very, very neat and tidy through there. There's Task One, here's the other one coming through the chicane. I love the speed of the cars through the chicane, it's beautiful. There's Danny Quaver, oh, probably the best line so far. There's Bidzster, that's what it's like on the hard tyres, it's very squirmy on the hard tyres. And oh, Mr. Slow One, that's not how you do it. that's an error at the chicane. Unlucky there for Mr. Slow One. And then Man of Steel, 10th place. He's going to close up a bit more to Mr. Slow One now. We've got Neil Farmack in the pits. So there's Danny Quaver. He'll go through to 6th place. He's coming out of the pits. Bidzster's coming through. Will Neil get out in front of Bidzster? I think he will. Yep, he's just exiting the pits there, just ahead. You can see him. There he is. And we'll see Bidzster just come through shot. There he is in the background. But remember, Bidzster's on a harder compounder tyre, so he'll not catch Neil now. As Neil resumes in 7th place. There's Task One. Let's have a look. There's Jay Houston closed up on Domingo, so that's visually closer than it's been the last couple of laps. You can definitely tell. As they go up towards the chicane. Through the chicane. If you lose a little ounce of speed through here, it's all to pay for. Yeah, Houston takes a beautiful line through that chicane, takes all the curb he can, misses the wall by a couple of millimetres. And just moving out, just to put Domingo under a little bit of pressure. Not to make a move, just moving out to position the car in his mirrors, just to make a bit of, just to try and apply a bit of pressure. And now he's really applying the pressure because he's right up behind him. So I wonder if Domingo's on a different set of tyres, because that was a bit too easy, that. There's Jay Houston goes through to 2nd place. That was a bit easy, that. So I wonder if Domingo's on a different strategy now. And I don't think he should be, because running at the pace he's been running at, he should keep on the softer tyres. But if he wants to try the harder compound, then why not? Give it a try. There's Jay Houston moves up to 2nd place. That's the gap to Callum. Callum is over the other side of the circuit going through the chicane. And then there's Jay Houston in 2nd place, just coming out of the Suzuka section and going up the hill. So there's a plenty of gap between them, and Task One is into the pit. Oh, Neil's coming past Danny Quaver now. Neil's putting a move on Danny Quaver as they go into the little kink. And then onto the brakes. Neil is through into 5th place, and he's on it. Trying to catch this man now, Lilian, that's his next target. So Danny Quaver runs a bit wide there in the background, but gets away with it. Just puts a wheel on the outer edge. And there's Mr. Slow One. Still having a good race, Mr. Slow One in this one. There's Man of Steel 9th, Task One 10th, and about to be lapped by Callum. So it's Callum's next victim on his hit list. There's Seek One in 11th and Jonesy Rowe 12th. As we look at Danny Quaver. Oh, squirming! He's off! Onto the gravel, he's lost it, gone round! Bidzster goes through, just lost it, control there. No, Mr. Slow One just avoids him. Good reactions there by Mr. Slow One. So Danny Quaver just loses it there on the gravel, just a bit too much speed up the hill, and that's what happens. Mr. Slow One goes through to 7th place behind Bidzster now. There's Neil Farmack. He's closed up to Jonesy Rowe to lap him. So that's another little thing going on, and there's Danny Quaver under pressure now from Man of Steel after his little error at the top of the hill as he goes through the chicane section. We've got another little and there's Callum, who's just past Task 1 in the background. So there's Danny Quaver with this man of Steel, hunting him down. Both different lines through there as they go and power on up the hill and into slipstream. Beautiful cars to drive, these GR3 cars around this track. As they go into the first corner, Man of Steel just goes to look at the inside, put the pressure on, and I think the pressure worked because Danny Quaver outbraked himself, and Man of Steel goes up to 8th place. Man of Steel up to 8th place, and Danny Quaver down to 9th. So lucky there for Danny Quaver, just felt the pressure a bit too much. There's Callum to put a lap on Task 1. Mr. Slow One has just got past Bidzster and run wide, and about to go off the other side onto the gravel. He's going to keep hold of it. Spits gravel all over the track, but it should be fine. Recovering. Oh, look here for Mr. Slow One again. It seems to be whenever he gets near Bidzster, he makes a mistake. So, unless Bidzster's using the 007 tactics, but I don't think he would be. But Mr. Slow One goes through the hairpin at the bottom, and now he's got Man of Steel to think about in his rearview mirror because Man of Steel's on it. And then Danny Quaver behind, trying to recover from a lap of misery, really. And through the chicane. Good line there from Man of Steel, and even better line by Danny Quaver. He's really on it. As we've got a car in the pits, that's Lil Yam into the pits. There he is, in the Beetle. And there's Neil Farmer, goes through the 4th place. Lil Yam 5th. Bidzster 6th, but we'll soon be 5th because Lil Yam's still in the pit. So there he goes through Bidzster into 5th place. Lil Yam's still in the box. Mr. Slow One goes through to 6th. Man of Steel 7th. Danny Quaver's going to be. Is Danny Quaver going to get through? Man of Steel goes through. Lil Yam's out the pits. As Callum Banks comes into the pits, and Lil Yam comes out in 8th place. In the middle of this little battle here, and Mr. Slow One goes a bit slow out of there, and Man of Steel has a look up the inside and gets through. Mr. Slow One gives him plenty of room, and now Lil Yam's all over his case. Lil Yam's all over his case, and you're a bit squirmy out that corner. Lil Yam will have better traction coming down the hill, but this is the section where the Beetle's very good anyway on the handling up the hill, but he's not going to be. Oh, and he goes up the inside. Mr. Slow One gives him a country mile worth of room, and he goes onto grass and makes an error. So unlucky there for Mr. Slow One. And then Danny Quaver's going to be on the case of Mr. Slow One in a minute. They have to go down towards the hairpin. So 41 minutes into this race out of 1 hour, and Mr. Slow One makes an error, and Danny Quaver says, "I'm going to follow you." And they both make an error there. Danny Quaver is up the inside, trying to get through before the chicane, get the run. Mr. Slow One is going to have to let him go. So Danny took advantage there of a mistake, even though he did follow. He didn't make as big a mistake as Mr. Slow One did. Oh, and he's just made a mistake out of the chicane. But I don't think Mr. Slow One will be close enough to make a move on that. So there's Lil Yam, 7th place. Man of Steel, 6th. And Bidzster's in from he's in early, so he must have been decided to switch strategies onto a softer compound. She's got 57 litres of fuel still, so he's going for probably going for a quick turnaround. We'll keep an eye on this. Everyone else is into the pits as well, so let's see what they come out with. So it's Danny Quaver into the pits, into the box there, and Bidzster's on his way. Yep, he's on softs. Bidzster's switched strategies. And Danny Quaver's in, he's still on super softs. Man of Steel there. See the fuel, the Porsche from the front. So there goes seat 1. He's going to be coming out amongst this lot. So seat 1 there, so Man of Steel in 8th. Seat 1, 9th. Danny Quaver and Mr. Slow One coming out together. So Mr. Slow One into 10th place, and Danny Quaver 11th. As they go into the first corner now, they've got the blue flag, so they must have Callum coming up behind him. There he is, Callum in the Toyota coming up behind him, so they're about to get lapped as well. There's Bidzster in 7th on his new soft tyres. He'll be loving that now, because when you go from hards to softs, you just feel the instant grip and it feels good. There's Lilian. Neil's into the pits, so Lilian will be on it now, trying to get into 4th place with Neil in the pits. As we've got quite a lot of cars back here. That's Mr. Slow One and Danny Quaver having a little battle there as Mr. Slow One kicks up the dust and Callum's trying to lap them all. Let's have a look. Sorry about the cameras, ladies and gentlemen, just trying to get to which one I want. There we go. Lilian coming around the last corner. Neil's in the pit still stood there. Lilian's coming up towards the first corner. Neil's out the pits. Lilian's coming down the straight, but he's got Jonesy Road to pass, but it's ghosted. But yep, Neil Farmack's got out in front into 4th place. As we now have a look, there's Bidzster on his fresher set of soft tyres now. He can get back in the battle. He's having a look at Task 1, and I think he's going to get through. He's got the run out the last corner, and he's going to get through past Task 1 now. As we're looking to the previous corner, now that's Man of Steel. So, yeah, Bidzster's through past Task 1 now. Into the first corner, and it gives him a little indicator flash saying thank you very much. And then Man of Steel 8th, Seat 1 9th, and then Mr. Slow One and Danny still battling it out. I know they're ghosted on the screen there, but they're not ghosted to each other. Up the inside goes Danny Quaver, and then takes the place. Mr. Slow One runs out of room and squirms and falls back down to 11th place. And I can tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, that Jay Hewson, this man, is there, and there is Callum. So Callum's just about to come up to Danny Quaver, and there's Jay Hewson, and you can just see them going over the horizon there. So Jay Hewson's really closed up on Callum. So whether Callum's had a mistake somewhere, or Jay Hewson's just on the catch-up, then that just shows you that he's really been on it. So there's Callum working his way through the traffic, and there's Jay Hewson catching up to the traffic. Domingo 3rd, coming through that little section there. Let's have a look down the field. There's Bidzster in 6th place on the move. There's Task 1, Man of Steel, Seek 1, and then this lot. Callum's ahead, and now Callum's just gone through Danny Quaver, literally, because Danny Quaver's a ghost to him. And now gone through to lap him. Danny Quaver has lost a bit of speed out of there, so Mr. Sloan will be catching up. In towards the last corner. And then up the hill. There's Task 1. Let's have a look at... There we are. Oh, Jay Hewson's into the pit, so he was catching Callum, but he's into the pits. He's got to go in for a fuel stop and a tyre change. King Domingo's in as well. So the battle for 2nd place, Raid takes to the pits. But Jay Hewson's already getting filled up, so I think Jay Hewson will be out before then. There's Neil Farmack, the next car to them, because coming out of the chicane, so I don't think Neil will be close enough. There's Jay Hewson. Jay Hewson's rolling. He's out the pits. Resumes 2nd place. Domingo still stood there. There's Neil coming out the last corner. And Domingo's just released now. Coming out the pits. There's Neil Farmack just coming out the last few corners onto the pit straight. So you'll see there's Domingo coming through the first little kink, and there's Neil just about to come through it as well. So Neil's done well to close up from that first corner incident that happened on the first lap. Done well to come up to 4th, didn't give up. And there's Bidzster on his softer tyres now. Task 1, 7th place, and let's have a look, see if there's any other battles down the field. We've got Seek 1 there, and who's that behind him? That's Callum coming up to lap him. And here's Danny Quaver and Mr. Slow One still together, still battling it out for 10th place. Been a really good showing of pace by Danny Quaver and Mr. Sloan in this race. Seat 1's into the pits, so they're both going to gain one more position. As they come through, there we are. Danny Quaver changes to 9th, Mr. Sloan changes to 10th. Seat 1 in the pits. Is he going for more hard tyres, or is he going for a softer compound? Hopefully a softer compound, because we're not far off the end of this race. We're only 10 minutes away from the end of this race. And there's Jonesy Rowe, so seat 1 still in the pits. Let's have a look. There's Danny Quaver and Mr. Slow One still running together. There's Danny Quaver coming through that corner. There's the Neo Racing stuff. We're on Facebook and we're always looking for more people to join us. So if you want to join for some clean racing, every Wednesday at 8 PM GMT on each week on Wednesdays on GT Sport, why not join us? And same for Project Cars 2, which we have a championship up on as well. On Thursdays at the same time, 8 PM GMT. Come and join us. Oh, we've got an incident at the chicane. Someone's got a note. It's Jonesy Rowe gone round, so it's Jonesy Rowe's gone round at the chicane. Man of Steel's coming through there, and we've got Lil Yam in the pits. Bidzster's coming through. Lil Yam's still taking on fuel, so Bidzster is now in 5th. Lil Yam just going out the pits now. There's Task 1, 7th. So Lil Yam is ahead. And the Oreo sponsored VW Beetle. There's Task 1, 7th place. Man of Steel 8th. Danny Quaver in 9th, with Mr. Slow One still keeping him under pressure and honest for that 9th place. There's Seek 1. Hopefully on a softer compounder tyre now, and I think he is with looking at that pace through there. So let's see if there's any other battles on track. There's Jay Hughes and there's Callum, so there's still a bit of a gap between them. But there's hardly any gap between 3rd and 4th. King Domingo and Neil battling it out for the last podium slot. As they come through the chicane. Toyota Supra versus BMW M6. As they go through towards the last corner, Neil Farmack moves out for the move. He's up the inside. He goes up the inside. And he's going to get the car stopped. Oh, Domingo gives him a little tap to say hello, make good friends. But not sure if there was any need for contact there. We'll get a replay. Here's a replay of what happened to Domingo and Neil. See whether there was any contact here. So Neil moves out, so we'll switch to the backwards camera. So he goes through, just slightly outbracing himself, and then, whoop. I don't think there was contact there. I think Neil just got a bit spooked by Domingo swapping sides and then had to manoeuvre out of the way. Here's another view of the incident from Domingo's point of view. So Neil moves out to overtake and then goes past on the brakes, so switch to forwards, and then goes up the inside, and then Neil has a bit of a squirm and then Neil goes the other way. So I do think there wasn't contact there, it was just a bit of a squirm there by Neil. As meanwhile, Mr. Slow One's made a mistake. He was in a brilliant battle with Danny Quaver. He's made a mistake. There's Danny Quaver coming down the bottom of the hill. Mr. Slow One is just coming up it still. So unlucky there for Mr. Slow One. Something definitely happened there. So we'll try and get another replay on that. As there is Danny Quaver from that incident. And Bidzster's in. Bidzster's into the pit, so he's in. Unless he's going for, I think he's going for a fresh set of supers. He'll probably just top off the fuel a little bit. You can see the fuel going up, just topping it off a little bit. Yep, and now he's off. See, Task 1's in behind him as well. Bidzster's on supers off, so he's going for a fast last stint. There's Man of Steel going through into 6th. So, but he's got to be aware of Bidzster behind him, because Bidzster's on it with a fresh set of supers. And Bidzster's about to get lapped by Callum. This is unheard of. But Bidzster's car's ghosted there, and he's got the blue flags, but I don't think he's going to be letting Callum go past, because he's on super softs and he's on the move. He wants that 6th place off Man of Steel, so I don't think he'll be slowing up anytime soon. So there's Man of Steel. You can see Man of Steel's on older tyres because he's just struggling a little bit to get through that section there. And Bidzster's closing up. As they go down the bottom of the hill. Meanwhile, there's a little battle further back, I think. That's Seek 1, and who's that around him now? It's Jonesy Rowe. So the battle for last place is hotting up, and Bidzster's through. Past Man of Steel, Bidzster's through. So Bidzster's on it now, so it's Man of Steel's Man of Steel now that's getting the blue flags for Callum. Bidzster is on it. He doesn't want to get lapped, and he wants to try and catch this man Lil Yam before the end of the race if he can. So let's work you through the order with under 10 minutes to go. There's Callum in the lead, just passing Man of Steel. There's Jay Hewson, second place, about half a lap behind. There's Neil Farmack up to third place after that dreadful first corner incident. King Domingo in fourth place. Lilian in fifth. Bidzster sixth. Man of Steel seventh, just being lapped by Callum. Danny Quaver eighth place. He was having a good battle with this man, Mr. Slow One, but Mr. Slow One's into the pits anyway because he must have been short on fuel for the end, or his tyres have gone. And there's Task One, so looks like Mr. Slow One's going to lose another position. Oh no! Unlucky for Mr. Slow One there. He's still getting his tyres changed. Now the fuel's going in. Seat One's going to get. Oh, Seat One and Jonesy Rowe's off, so I wonder if there was contact there. But Mr. Slow One's still getting fuel pumped in. He's out of the pits now. And Jonesy Rowe has been lapped by most people, so Mr. Slow One's still 11th. And oh no, we've got Neil Farmack into the pits. He must have gone too short of fuel. He has. Mr. King Domingo goes through the third. Neil Farmack's in. He might as well take another set of tyres while he's at it. Put us on some fresh super softs. But now he's got to fill up and just get enough fuel to go to the end, because we've just got 5 minutes left in this race, so probably another 2 or 3 laps, 4 laps maybe at a push. There he's coming out the pits, so it still resumes in 4th place because 5th place Lilian's there, just coming out the last corner, and Bidzster's coming towards the last corner with Callum behind him. He does not want to get lapped by Callum, so he's pushing on. Let's have a look, see what else we've got down the field. We've got Danny Quaver there, there's Task One in 9th place, there's Seek One 10th, Mr. Slow One 11th, and Jonesy Rowe getting the blue flags for Mr. Slow One. Danny Quaver's into the pits as well. Let's have a look, find Danny Quaver. There he is, coming into the box. So he's short fueled as well, so a lot of people miscalculating the fuel here. So Danny Quaver's got to wait until that fuel goes up. He's still waiting, he's just been released. There's Seat One coming out the last corner, so Danny Quaver down to 9th place. Task One strategy's actually worked out pretty well for him. So up to 8th place. Man of Steel 7th. There's Danny Quaver, and there's Seek One. There's Mr. Slow One side by side with Jonesy Rowe. I hope makes a mistake. He's trying too hard to get round him, and then they've got Jay Hewson closed up on him as well. So they've got to be careful with that. So there's Neil in 4th place, trying to look for some battles on track. There's not many battles on track at the minute, unfortunately. Bidzster there, Man of Steel, Task One, Danny Quaver. Seat One on a little bit of dust there. I thought he made an error, but no, just kicking up a little bit of dust as he comes through that section there. There's Mr. Slow One about to put another lap on Jonesy Rowe, and then there's Jonesy Rowe there having a bit of a torrid race. But that's how it happens sometimes, unfortunately. There's Task One, and there's Danny Quaver. So Danny Quaver's closed up on Task One. Man of Steel's in the pits again, another person that's short fueled. So a lot of people miscalculating the fuel in this race. There's Task One and Danny Quaver coming up to the last corner, so this is going to be close because Man of Steel's not going to be in the pits long, because he only needs enough fuel to do another couple of laps. And here comes Task One and Danny Quaver coming out the last corner. Man of Steel's already on his way out. Task One and Danny Quaver are coming through. There's Man of Steel coming out the pits. So he's just going to keep 7th place, and 8th place is up for grabs. As Danny Quaver's on Task One's scene now, and he goes up the inside. Will he be able to get the car stopped? A beautiful move if he gets it done. A little bit of contact side by side, and gets it done. Danny Quaver up to 8th place. Seat One demoted down to 9th. Man of Steel, I don't think they'll catch Man of Steel because Man of Steel's on fresh tyres and super light on fuel because he's got just enough fuel to get to the end of the race now. So Danny Quaver's just got to try and keep Task One behind. And we've got a spinner at the chicane. That's Jonesy Rowe, unfortunately spun again. And Domingo's going to come through to lap him again as well. So unlucky for Jonesy Rowe. At least he's hanging on in there, which is good. He's not Rage quitted out. He's kept going, which is good. Soldiering on. Danny Quaver almost on the grass as he goes onto the brakes. Got to be careful not to do that too often.